Hello and a warm welcome to today's video. Today we're going to talk about the Vanguard Total World Stock ETF. This video is for entertainment purposes only and should not be taken as financial advice. First, we're going to see some basic information about this ETF on Vanguard's webpage, and then we're going to look at some information on our dashboard. The ticker symbol for this ETF is VT, and its expense ratio is 7 basis points, which is pretty good considering that it invests in stocks all over the world. It has had a 1-year performance of 26.10% and a 10-year return of 9.45%. Since inception in 2008, it has had a return of 7.86% per year. Here you can see other basic information about the fund. It holds 9,796 stocks, while the benchmark holds 10,080. The investment style is large cap blend. As you can see here, 67.6% of the holdings are in North America. Then we have 9.50% in emerging markets, 13.50% in Europe, 9.20% in the Pacific region, and then 0.20% in the Middle East. If we look at a country level, it's 64.90% the US, followed by Japan, United Kingdom, Canada, China, India, France, Taiwan, and Switzerland. The top companies in this ETF are very similar to the ones that you find in other ETFs like VOO or VTI. So we have Apple, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, Alphabet, Tesla, Google, and Berkshire Hathaway. The first ETF that we find outside of the US is Taiwan Semiconductor. So as we saw before, about 64% of the holdings are in the US. Next is Japan. So if we look into Japan, we can see the top holdings from Japan. So we have Toyota Motor Group, Mitsubishi Financials, Sony Group, Hitachi, among others. Once we go over to England, England represents 3.33% of this ETF, and we have companies such as AstraZeneca, Shell, HSBC, Unilever. Then the fourth country by weight in this ETF with 2.7% is Canada. We have a total of 161 companies here, and the top companies are Royal Bank of Canada, Shopify, Toronto Dominion Bank. Next one is Hong Kong. Here we see that we have this company, Tencent Holdings, Alibaba. In India, we have HDFC Bank and Reliance Reliance Industries. France, the top companies are LVMH and Schneider Electric and Total Energy. Taiwan, we have Taiwan Semiconductor. In Switzerland, it's Nestlé, Novartis, Roche, UBS, Zurich Insurance, ABB. And as we move on, we continue to see the top companies in each country. So when you invest in this ETF, you are basically investing in almost 10,000 companies. So here it says it's 9,787 companies that are there. As you can see from this map, It is a total world stock ETF, but there are many countries that are not represented in this ETF. As you can see, only 2 countries in Africa are there. In South America, only 3 countries are represented. And interestingly, Russia appears here with 15 companies and a weight of 0. You can see here that they have a certain amount of shares in different Russian companies, but the weight is currently 0. I imagine this is related to the sanctions, but who knows if in the future, if the sanctions are removed, if these stocks will add to the value of this ETF again or not. As you can see, there are other interesting economies here, such as India, China, and Brazil. So in the case of China, as you can see, there's 1,538 companies with a weight of 0.62%. So it is an interesting way to get broad exposure of both the US stock market and the international stock market, including emerging economies. In the case of India, there's 565 companies. And in the case of Brazil, there's 146 companies. The top holdings from Brazil are Vale SA, Petrobras, Petróleo Brasileiro, among other interesting companies. So this is a very interesting ETF to look into. Gives you broad exposure to the global market. As you can see, it's heavily concentrated in the US. In the US, you would be invested in 1,758 stocks. So not quite as much as the amount of stocks that you would invest if you would buy VTI or SCHB, but still quite a few. And finally, let's look at some sectors to see the top companies in some sectors. So if we look at automobiles, we see that the US is leading the pack with 1.2% of the weight of the ETF and 8 companies. So the companies are Tesla, General Motors, Ford. Then in second place, we have Japan with 10 companies. These are Toyota, Honda, Suzuki, Subaru, Isuzu, Yamaha, Nissan, Mazda, Mitsubishi. Then followed by India with Mahindra and Tata. Next one is Germany. We see that we have here Mercedes, BMW, Volkswagen. Next one is Hong Kong, Italy, South Korea, and China. So China, as you can see, there's quite a few. There's 16 symbols in there in the China with a weight of 0.01% of the weight of these holdings. Let's see another sector. For example, we can take software. So in software, again, US is at the top with 6.58% of the weight of this ETF, followed by Germany and Canada. So the top companies that we have here from the US are Microsoft and Salesforce, Oracle and Adobe, ServiceNow. If we see what's available in Germany, we have SAP. Also interesting, TeamViewer. I didn't know that they were German. Canada, we have these companies. In Japan, I didn't know there was this Oracle Corporation Japan. We can see another sector, for example, pharmaceuticals. In the case of pharmaceuticals, once again, US is present with 1.88% of the weight of this ETF. And in second place is Switzerland with 0.50% of the weight of the ETF. This is interesting because the weight of Switzerland in the whole ETF is less than 2%. So about 25% of the Switzerland stock market is pharmaceuticals. So in the US, we have top companies such as Lilly, Eli Lilly, Johnson & Johnson, Merck, Pfizer. In Switzerland, we have Novartis, Roche, Sandoz. In Denmark, we have Novo Nordisk. And in Great Britain, we have AstraZeneca and GlaxoSmithKline. Let's see now semiconductors. Once again, the US is the biggest by weight. So 6.2% of this ETF represents the US semiconductor industry, followed by Taiwan and the Netherlands. So in Taiwan, in the US, you see that there's 52 companies in the semiconductor space. At the head of the pack, we have NVIDIA, Broadcom, AMD, and Texas Instruments. For Taiwan, there's 101 companies. China, China has 91 semiconductor companies that you would be getting exposure with this ETF. If we look at media, again, the US is at the top of the list. IT services, again, US, followed by India, Canada, Japan, France. Let's see if there's any other interesting sector before we finish this video. Let's see, food products. Food is very important. So we have at the top of the list, once again, 0.42% of the weight of this ETF. We have the US, followed by Switzerland. In Switzerland, there's companies like Nestle, and I believe this is Lindt. So again, these companies represent a very big portion of the Swiss stock market. Biotechnology, let's see what we have here. Once again, we have US, followed by Australia, South Korea, and Belgium. Banks, we have US, Canada, Japan, Australia, Great Britain, India, Hong Kong, Italy, Spain. Quite surprising that Switzerland is nowhere to be seen at the top of the bank situation. And let's see, consumer finance. Oh, clicked on the wrong one. Consumer finance, once again, US at the top, with American Express, followed by India and Japan. So aerospace, we have the US with 1.17%. We have General Electric, RTX, Lockheed Martin, Boeing. In France, we have Airbus and Safran. Great Britain, we have Rolls-Royce. In Germany, Rheinmetall. In India, Bharat Electronics. In Canada, yeah, I would expect to see Bombardier. Chemicals, once again, the US is at the top with Linde and Sherwin-Williams, and followed by Japan with the Shin-Etsu Chemicals. So as you can see, this is a very interesting ETF to get broad exposure. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you liked the video, please like the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and I hope to see you in a new video. Thank you very much for your attention. Bye.